All right, today we are going to decode one of the most critical and honestly, one of the most misunderstood roles out there, the business analyst. We're going to be using the industry standard BABOK guide to see how these pros act as expert translators, turning that initial spark of an idea into something that delivers real, tangible value. So think about this. You've probably seen it happen before, right? A project with so much potential just fizzles out. It gets tangled up in development, or it completely misses what customers actually want. Or maybe it just ends up being a solution to a problem that nobody really had in the first place. Why does that happen so often? Well, the breakdown almost always happens in that space, that gap between the big, exciting vision and the messy, complicated reality of actually getting it built. That's the danger zone. It's where miscommunication runs wild, where tiny but critical details get lost, and where that amazing original concept just gets twisted into something unrecognizable. So, how in the world do you get across that treacherous gap? Well, you need an expert guide. And that's exactly where the business analyst, or BA, comes into the picture. They are the professional navigators of business change. Let's look at the official definition for a second, because it really gets to the core of what they do. A BA is the ultimate bridge builder. They're not just taking notes in a meeting. They help a business really articulate its needs, to understand the why behind a change, and then they help map out a solution that actually delivers on its promise. So, how do they actually build that bridge? It all starts with language. I mean, to get everyone from the CEO all the way down to the software developer on the exact same page, you need a shared vocabulary. And a huge part of the BA's job is creating that common ground. And it starts with two absolutely fundamental terms. First up, we have the requirement. Now, this is not just some big shopping list of features. A real requirement defines the core need. It forces the entire team to stop and answer, what problem are we really solving here, and what value is this going to create? It's all about the what and the why, long before you even think about the how. And that brings us to the design. So, if the requirement is the what, then the design is the how. This is the blueprint for the solution. It's the tangible, concrete plan for how we're actually going to build something that fulfills that requirement we just talked about. You know, understanding the difference between these two is so critical. Mixing them up, jumping into building a solution before you truly understand the need, that is a classic project killer. It leads to wasted time, blown budgets, and a product that, in the end, doesn't solve the actual problem. A great BA makes sure the team gets the requirement right first. Only then do you move on to the design. Now, a business analyst is never a lone wolf. Think of them more like the central hub of a wheel, connecting a really diverse group of people who all have a stake in the project's success. We call these people the stakeholders. You can almost think of the BA as a master diplomat, translating between totally different worlds. They have to understand the high-level goals of the sponsor, who's footing the bill, but also the day-to-day frustrations of the end users, who are going to have to live with the product. They listen to domain experts to understand the business inside and out, and they collaborate with implementation experts to figure out what's even possible to build. The real magic of a BA is pulling all those different perspectives into one single coherent vision. So, to manage all these complex conversations and turn ideas into actual plans, BAs don't just wing it. They come equipped with a toolkit that's full of proven techniques designed to bring structure and clarity to what can be a really chaotic process. Let's take brainstorming, for example. In the hands of a skilled BA, it's not a free-for-all. It's a very structured process. They prepare everyone by clearly defining the problem. Then they run a session that is purely about generating ideas, no judgment allowed. And then they lead a wrap-up to organize, discuss, and prioritize everything. It's creativity, but with a clear purpose. Then you've got a classic like the SWOT analysis. This is just a powerful way to map out the whole strategic landscape. By systematically looking at internal strengths and weaknesses and comparing them against external opportunities and threats, the BA helps the team spot hidden advantages and see potential problems long before they can derail the project. And finally, here's a simple but brilliant tool for preventing chaos: the RACI matrix. For any task, it answers that all-important question: who does what? R is for responsible. That's the person doing the work. A is for accountable, the one who owns the final outcome. C is for consulted, and I is for informed. Just by filling this out, a BA gets rid of all the confusion and makes sure there's no finger pointing or dropped balls down the line. But look, beyond all the charts and the techniques, what really separates a good BA from a truly exceptional one is their mindset. It's a specific set of core competencies that lets them not just survive, but thrive in complex situations. And it really comes down to three things. Great BAs are creative thinkers. They challenge the "that's how we've always done it" mentality. They're also systems thinkers, meaning they see the whole system and understand how changing one little thing over here can create huge ripple effects over there. And maybe most importantly, they are incredibly adaptable. They can switch their style to connect with anyone, from a stressed out developer to a C-level executive. So when you put it all together, this is really the best way to think about them. A business analyst is a value navigator. They start with a foggy, undefined business need, and they chart a precise, actionable course all the way to a solution that delivers real, measurable value. And that leaves us with a critical question to ask ourselves. Your next big project, it has a destination, but who's going to navigate the journey? Because coming up with a great idea, that's the easy part. The real challenge is navigating that complex journey from idea to success. And for that, you need a navigator.